What is up, guys? It's Zach J Plays. Today, I'm doing a bit of a different video. So I just sat down and watched SpongeBob, Sponge on the Run. A bloody weird film. So this is gonna be kind of like a two-part thing in this video because I'm gonna do my thoughts on the third SpongeBob movie. I know I'm quite late to this, but I've had a lot of things on my plate since SpongeBob came out, and also I'm not that much of a SpongeBob fanboy, but I'm enough to where I've watched all three films. So, Sponge on the Run. It's a pretty fucking weird movie, to say the least. It's kind of a weird film because it feels like when you sit down and actually watch it, it doesn't feel like it's an hour and a half. Like, it feels like it's only 45 minutes, which is kind of weird, but it's hard to explain without actually watching the film. You have to watch the film. It's on Netflix. It's really good. It's a good film. It's got a lot of callbacks to the original SpongeBob movie, which I fucking love. I still do. I've loved it since it came out in... God, it was 2004, I think? Something like that. I don't know. I'll probably correct myself in the description. But, yeah, SpongeBob on the Run is a very strange movie. If you haven't seen it, then I recommend you go watch it before this video because I'm going to be revealing some of the plot and shit. I know this film's like 2 or 3 years old already, but I don't care. So if you haven't seen this film yet, spoilers, go watch the film and then come back, all that sort of shit. Do it, or just watch the video anyway because I'm probably not going to be able to explain it very well. So the basic plot of Sponge on the Run is Plankton has tried for many years, since the original series, to steal the Krabby Patty formula, and the whole time he thought it was Mr. Krabs that was the issue, but Karen actually points out that it is SpongeBob, and Plankton then realised that to get rid of SpongeBob he would have to get rid of Gary. Now at the same time, King Poseidon, who uses snails for his youth, runs out of snails, and like the snail population is just gone. Which is a dark thought if you really think about it, but if you watch the film, it's a weird subplot. So SpongeBob obviously is distraught by this because Gary's his best friend, has been since he was younger, so the film kind of retcons a few episodes and stuff, but we're not going to get into that. I'm going to let a bigger SpongeBob YouTuber do that if they haven't done it already, because this is not a SpongeBob or film channel. This is just a variety channel where we do whatever the fuck we want. But back to the film. So obviously SpongeBob is in tatters, he doesn't know what to do, and then Patrick gives him the idea of going to the lost city of Atlantic City. I think I got that right. Again, I'll put it in the description if I did get it wrong. But I have just watched this and my memory is already gone because it was so fucking weird. But also in the background, Sandy has made this robot that is automated and all that sort of thing, and she tries to give it to Mr. Krabs, as a manager replacement so that he doesn't have to do anything, and it turns out Krabs actually doesn't want the robot, chucks it across the street to Plankton, and Karen, the computer, which is Plankton's wife, I don't know how that works to this day, but Karen brings the robot in, as their son, I think. Yeah. And it kind of all goes from there. Plankton, there we go. Plankton kidnaps, snail naps Gary, and takes him to King Poseidon, who then kind of just leaves him in places, and then occasionally rubs him on his face. It's weird. It's weird. You just have to watch it. It's a weird it's a fucking weird film. But yeah. So SpongeBob and Patrick set off to go and get Gary back, and along the way they meet a tumbleweed called Sage, who is played by Keanu Reeves, which was in the film for way longer than I thought he would. Be. And he gives them this challenge and all that sort of thing. You'll see if you watch the film. And it's weird. I literally watched it for the first time and it made me go, okay, whoa. I had to pause it and I just went, what the fuck is this film? And I was half an hour in. Now bear in mind, this is an hour and a half. And the first half an hour is spent with SpongeBob opening up the Krusty Krab, Mr. Krabs and the robot fighting or whatever, and then Plankton trying to get the formula, doesn't work obviously, and gets rid of Gary, and it's a very strange plot. And then about 5-10 minutes later, they get to the lost city of Atlantic City, and they basically just go on a gambling spree through that whole night that they're there. Well, actually, they're there 2 nights, but we're not going to get into that. So the first night they're there, they go crazy. They go absolutely goddamn crazy. And they just gamble and all that sort of thing. You wouldn't think that SpongeBob would go into a casino and gamble his money away, basically. But they do that. SpongeBob and Patrick do gamble, and by the end of that kind of scene, I guess, they are out of money. And obviously, Sage comes back in, and they just so happen to be slummed out in front of the place they needed to be, which I think was a bit too film convenient. But it was a bit too plot convenient, but either way. So they go in to Poseidon's kind of casino-y, like opera house thing, and they try and get Gary back, and then that fails. So then they get put into jail, which kind of triggers some other stuff, and it's really weird. It's really weird, but it's a good film. And then Mr. Krabs, Sandy, Squidward and Plankton go and get them because they realise that without SpongeBob there, it's not the same. Mr. Krabs gives up, gives Plankton the formula, but Plankton's all like, oh, well, if you're this miserable, why bother? So they go get SpongeBob and Patrick, and then hijinks ensue from there, and they do all sorts of weird stuff. And then they get to the ground floor, and SpongeBob finally builds up the courage to say no to King Poseidon, and he just starts crying. He just starts crying because he realized that he doesn't have any friends, which is kind of meta, to be honest, considering how big of a caricature he is. But yeah, and then SpongeBob kind of gives him this little pep talk, and he realizes that it doesn't matter how you look. That gives you. I don't actually know what the message of the film is, but I don't know. You'll have to see it and draw your own conclusions, because I didn't know what to get from it. But yeah, and it turns out that Poseidon isn't actually as good looking as he appears to be. I don't want to get into that because that just messed with my head. I was like, what the hell is this? What is going on? Why is he taking off his chest plate? And they get back, and Poseidon, before they go, Poseidon lets all the snails free that he dejuiced, I want to say. He dejuiced. And then the ending just has everybody with a snail and everybody's all happy. And it just ends there. And it's a weird film, but it's got a lot of callbacks to previous films. The previous two, actually the first film. They don't mention anything from the second one, which in my mind is a good thing, because I can't stand the second one. But I'll get into that at a later date. So, the plot, in my mind, it felt kind of rushed, but also felt like it was going too slow. Because we were half an hour in, and Patrick and SpongeBob had only just set off in an hour and a half film. So that was a bit weird. It just felt like a really extended episode of the series, which realistically a movie should not feel like. Oh, excuse me. And it's weird. Just go and watch it on Netflix. I can't really explain it, but I've actually yet to rewatch the first and second films, so I can't give you my opinions on them right now. But from what I can remember, SpongeBob, the first SpongeBob movie is like the perfect SpongeBob movie. It's got amazing writing, the slapstick is hilarious, the plot is amazing, the plot is really good. It has a nice message at the end as well. SpongeBob, Sponge Out of Water. How to feel about that one? I didn't like SpongeBob, Sponge Out of Water. I felt like the plot was just nonsensical. Like, everything just happened out of nowhere. And then it turned out in the end that the guy that they were trying to stop is actually the painting from the start of every episode. It's really weird. And it also ends in a rap battle between seagulls and an intergalactic dolphin. And there's a lot of YouTubers in that, and I'm not going to get into that because that film is very goddamn weird. But if I were to rank the 3 SpongeBob movies from memory of the first 2, the first one is definitely number 1. And I'm not just saying that because I grew up with it. I think it is a perfect point A to point B and then story resolved film. It's got its own little timeline as well, which is really good. It doesn't try and like smash itself in between any of the episodes and series and all that sort of stuff. Number 2 felt like the second film felt like it was just a cash grab for kids and all that sort of stuff. I know SpongeBob is targeted towards kids, but it's always had more of an adult tone as well, which now that I'm actually of a decent age, I can finally understand, and fuck me, is that show funny as all hell. But SpongeBob, Sponge Out of Water does go at the bottom of the 3, which means that Sponge on the Run slides right in the middle. It's not as weird and random as the second one, but it's not as grounded as the first one. It's kind of in between. And I think the idea of making it 3D, like the whole thing 3D, but still like the original series, was a really good idea, because it gave everything like a fresh look and all that sort of thing. The voice acting as well was flawless. There wasn't a single line that sounded off, unless you're Keanu Reeves, and in which case everything sounded a bit off, but that's because I don't personally like Keanu Reeves. Um, and yeah, it's just a generally really good film. There's not as many songs in it as the other ones. In fact, I think there's only about 2 songs in the whole film. Yeah, there's 1 or 2 in the film. But yeah, SpongeBob Sponge on the Run. Sorry. I recommend you go watch it. It is a really good film. Whether you're a fan of SpongeBob or not, watch this film. It is fucking crazy. And as a long-time SpongeBob fan, I feel like it's a satisfying thing. And at the time it was released, it was also a tribute to Steven Hillenburg, who originally created the series and unfortunately died of ALS. So that film was made as a tribute to Steven, who is still really missed because the show, from what clips I've seen of the newer series and shit, the show isn't the same. It's a bit weird. It's missing something, but hey. So yeah, overall, Sponge on the Run, really good film. I'd give it I'd probably give it about a 7 out of 10. It's not a must watch, but it's not a film that you can forget about. It's kind of it's an experience, to say the least. But yeah, so the rankings as well for the SpongeBob movies is first one at number 1, On the Run at number 2, and then way down on number 3 is Sponge Out of Water. But yeah, I'm hoping to actually do some more of these as well. It's going to be a bit harder, obviously, with schools going back in soon and all that sort of stuff, but I'll try my best. I'm going to try my best to get a lot of content done for you guys, so I hope you look forward to that. And that was my thoughts on Sponge on the Run. I know I'm quite late to it, but I don't care. I wanted to watch a movie, and I sat down and I saw Sponge on the Run on Netflix, and I thought, fuck it, I've got nothing else to do. So I sat down, watched that. It's a good film, 7 out of 10. Definitely not the best, obviously, because the original one's better. But yeah, it's a weird film, and this kind of film review kind of thing is something that I've wanted to do for a while, but just haven't had any shred of confidence to do, or anything like that, because I'm not a critic in any way. If any of you have actually sat down and watched a film with me, you know I'll pick out the tiny shit, but I will not be able to describe it to you after. But it's like with the game reviews, which I haven't actually done in quite a while. That was supposed to be a series in March. And actually, I think wait. No, I'll have to spread it into April. I'll have to spread it into April. Anyway, I'm gonna do the film reviews when I can, or when I see a film that I feel like I have enough of an opinion on to actually talk about. Because if I see a film and it's like, it wasn't really good, it wasn't really bad, I don't really have any thoughts on it, I won't review it. So don't be requesting stuff, because I'll most likely just ignore it, or I might check it out, depending on how I feel, because I'm never usually in the mood to watch a film. But if it's a decent film, then if it's reviewed and all that sort of shit already, and it's been a decent film, then I'll watch it and I'll give you guys my perspective on it. So I hope that you guys did enjoy this new kind of film review kind of thing. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to this channel for more content in the future. Ring the bell to actually receive notifications, because YouTube system has been fucked for a few years. Yeah. I don't really have a sub goal or anything for us, considering I wasn't expecting to even be going this long. I thought I'd just make a couple of videos and then I'd kind of stop. But now that I've had this time because of lockdown and all that sort of thing, it's really made me want to focus on not only college, but also getting just myself out there, obviously. So yeah, but thank you guys for watching, and go check out Sponge on the Run on Netflix. It's a decent film. But yeah, I will see y'all in the next video. So I'll see you around.